It's Wednesday here on the LouieTeeNetwork podcast. You know what that means. You guys get to take over the show. So start lining those comments up. We'll talk about all of the things going on in the National Football League, including kickoff weekend getting started tomorrow with the Buccaneers dropping the banner and looking to drop the hammer on the Dallas Cowboys. And in the spirit of the Buccaneers dropping that banner to remind everyone who the defending Super Bowl champions are, I figured it was only right if your man Louie T dropped the belt. That's right, drop the strap on all of y'all clowns out there that think you can come for the king. A wise man once said, if you gonna come for the king, you better not miss. Just in case you forgot, as a wise man once told me, y'all must have forgot, the champ is here. The champ is here. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to another episode of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. And it looks like I got some work to do. Let's get this date changed. Let's get this episode changed. We are one episode away from the 200 milestone. And I must say, I remember at one point thinking this podcast wouldn't make it. I started, then I stopped, and I started again, and nobody was listening. It felt like nobody was listening. There were people, I had loyal listeners for a very long time. Actually haven't hit the 200 milestone yet. Don't jump the gun. You're not at 200 yet, buddy. Okay. Got to get there first. There we go. That's better. So it's come a long way, I must say. Didn't think I would be here, but here we are, one episode away from the 200 milestone. And I don't see an end in sight. So it feels really good to be able to say that I've really gained a lot of traction with this podcast. And it's all due to you guys out there. So thank you guys for being loyal supporters, listeners, viewers of the Louie T Network podcast. With that said, I do want to jump into a multitude of topics. Today, I was initially going to break down and give you my predictions for the NFC, since we had two NFC teams playing tomorrow night. I was going to give you my NFC divisional predictions, who I think was going to win each division, all of that good jazz, and all the playoff teams and this, that, and the third for the NFC. And then I would do the same for the AFC on Friday, in addition to all of my picks for the upcoming week. But I forgot that there was another episode of Hard Knocks last night, so I had to knock that out. We're going to talk about that, put a bow on that. I'll open up the floor to you guys. You can take over the show, social media maneuvers, and then we'll finish up the show with my preview and my analysis of what I think is going to happen. So preview and prediction essentially for the Thursday night kickoff between the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that'll be a little bit later on in the show. So without any further ado, let's get to the gem dropping session, shall we? I think we shall. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind, let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up. Thinking a little bit. So I want to talk about the final episode, the series finale of Hard Knocks, episode 5, featuring the Dallas Cowboys. Look, this wasn't one of my favorite Hard Knocks seasons, and I think a lot of you have already stated this. I don't need to continue to beat this horse, that this wasn't one of the best Hard Knocks. It wasn't a lot of action. It wasn't, that compelling. I didn't find myself overly rooting for any of these guys to make the football team. I just like ball, period. So anytime I get a behind-the-scenes look at it, even if they know the cameras are rolling, it's still ball at the end of the day. And I like watching ball, and I like going behind the scenes. So you're never going to get a behind-the-scenes look at ball or guys talking ball or doing what they do without them knowing. That's impossible. There's not going to be some secret camera. So guys are going to do their job regardless whether cameras are on or off, period. Maybe they put a little extra sauce on it because they know the cameras are rolling. But at the end of the day, they got a job to do. And whatever it is you do, generally speaking, and a wise man once told me this, money doesn't change a person. It just usually makes them more of what they already are. Same with power. Same with attention. If you were a guy that didn't get a lot of girls in high school and all of a sudden you're getting a lot of attention, or you now have a lot of money, you're probably going to go in the opposite direction and you're going to go overboard, over the top with it. If you didn't have a lot of shoes growing up, parents couldn't afford them, and you used to watch other kids flaunting their stuff, and people used to tease you because your shoes weren't the best, you run into some money, you're probably going to go out and overdo it on shoes. One of my best friends, same exact way. Didn't have a lot of shoes. He'd get the Grant Hills 3 years after the Grant Hills were actually cool. So now he's got a closet full of shoes. Barely wears any of them, but that's his way of making himself feel good. He's a good dude, though. I said all of that to say this. I enjoy Hard Knocks, not for the drama, not for them, going in there and having something crazy happen and the cameras just happen to be there. Like when Antonio Brown froze his feet with the Oakland, or I think they might have been in Vegas already, Raiders, and had a whole bunch of drama with them. That was compelling TV. They just happened to be with the right team at the right time when he was doing all of the tomfoolery. Same thing with Chad Ochocinco when he was in Miami and he got in trouble with his girlfriend and they had to cut him. It might have been his wife at the time, whatever the case may be, and he headbutted her. They was like, we can't have this shit. He's got to go. And we got to watch the uncomfortable exchange and dialogue between him and Joe Philbin. That's compelling theater. You're not going to get that most years on Hard Knocks. This wasn't one of those years. As a matter of fact, this wasn't a great year at all, but I still enjoyed it, probably more than most. Hell, I even asked a Cowboys fan, Law Nation, my guy Law, representing Law Nation, was on the show. You guys know, if you haven't, check out the video. It's up there. And we had a NFC East Super Friends roundtable discussion about the division. And I asked him, point blank, how do you feel about Hard Knocks this year? And he was like, man, it's like a stale bag of chips. I get it. It really wasn't all that great. So let's put a cap on it, shall we? I think we shall. So the first thing that I put in my notes that I found interesting was DeMarcus Ware schooling Micah Parsons. And I think DeMarcus Ware is one of the most underrated pass rushers of the last decade that people don't really give enough credit to. And I can honestly say that he used to strike fear in my heart as a Washington football team fan when he lined up on the edge. And it didn't matter if it was Chris Samuels or if it was Trent Williams. DeMarcus Ware was an effing problem. Period. End of discussion. John Jansen, doesn't matter. Right side, left side, DeMarcus Ware was an animal. And I don't know if I've ever seen a guy as angular as he is be able to bend as low to the ground as DeMarcus Ware could in his career. This guy's every bit of 6'4", 6'5" was DeMarcus Ware. Yet DeMarcus Ware could bend at like a 75-degree angle. It was ridiculous. You want most guys to bend at a 90-degree angle. That's putting a lot of pressure on a tackle, because then he's got to get down. He's got to bend his knees. If he bends at the waist, you're more likely than not going to slide right under his attempt at pushing you down or pushing you around the pocket, and you're going to get to the quarterback. DeMarcus Ware could bend at a 70-degree angle, which is insane for a guy his size. He wasn't built low to the ground like a James Harrison. He was 6'4", and yet he was bending down lower than most 5'11", 6'1" pass rushers. It's ridiculous. And many a guy tried, many a guy failed at trying to block him off the edge, and he was giving Micah Parsons some tips. Thought that was pretty cool. It was just really fun watching him because I'm big on pass rushers. My second favorite position to analyze when we come to the draft and we look at prospects and things of that nature. Number one for me is always wide receiver. Number two is pass rushers. And I love the art of pass rushing and the psychology that goes into it, because I think that's what separates the great pass rushers from the good guys, from the guys that are just average to below average. It is the guys that have it all, the athleticism, the dynamic ability. They also that the physical aspects, you either have it or you don't. But that doesn't make a great pass rusher. I've seen guys not be dynamic athletes, but still be able to get to the quarterback at a high clip. And it's because they've mastered the mental side of the game and they've mastered the hand fighting portion of the game. And to me, if you can master those two things and you got any ounce or semblance of athleticism, you got a chance to be special. And DeMarcus Ware has all of it. You could see him showing him how to defeat the hands of a tackle. And he showed him how not only do you beat him once, but then you come back across here and finish him off. And now you're turning the corner. That guy has no chance. So I thought that was pretty interesting, pretty cool to watch. I love Stephon. I love Trayvon Diggs' son, Aiden Diggs. He's so cute. He reminds me of my son so much, but he's so much older than my son, but he speaks so well. He's funny, has his own personality. He couldn't remember Dak Prescott's name to save his life. He wanted to keep calling him Patrick Mahomes. I loved it, man. That was really fun to watch. They're doing a great job with that kid. Cut down day came and went. We already knew the outcome of all of these players already, obviously, with the new setup this year with no fourth preseason game. So there was an extra week for Hard Knocks to be out there. And so we weren't on the edge of our seat like we normally are when it comes to these guys that you've been following for the last month. We already knew all of these guys were going to the practice squad, with the exception of one, and that one being Azur Kamara, the Ivory Coast refugee that ended up coming here playing college football at Kansas and was on the Cowboys practice squad a year ago, makes the football team this year. And the rest of those guys, Isaac Alarcon, Jaquan Hardy, the running back, and Ben DiNucci, the quarterback, all are on the Cowboys practice squad. So we got to see that they gave Azur Kamara, AK as they call him, the news of making the roster. He was elated, called his mom. She was, speaking in some kind of African dialect as she was just running around the house, so excited for her son. That was pretty cool to see. And then you get CeeDee Lamb at the very end of the episode pretty much talking about his COVID-19 experience and how it sucked and how he couldn't smell and how he couldn't taste and, how he was shocked he got over it so quickly. He's a young guy, but, for a week or so, he couldn't smell or taste. And he's like, it really sucked. And he wouldn't, wish that on anybody. So just a quick reminder, because it was funny. I was just having a conversation with my wife, and she was like, she works in let's call it a public service industry. Okay. And she's like, a lot of people are just acting as if COVID doesn't exist anymore, like it's over. And that's not the case. And I think sometimes you just need a reminder of that. At the beginning of Hard Knocks, I think it was episode 1, we got a reminder when they had it might have been episode 2. They had a COVID scare. I think it was episode 2 because Dan Quinn ended up getting it right before one of the preseason games. And they pretty much had to quarantine the whole building. And so the players couldn't come in. They had to do everything via Zoom. And then I think CeeDee Lamb ended up getting it out of all of those people. CeeDee Lamb ended up being one of the players that contracted COVID. But I think that was a little brief reminder that this stuff, it still exists. It's not going anywhere right now because not enough people are taking it serious enough. You don't want to get the vaccine, that's fine. I don't care about that. Wear a damn mask, but that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is CeeDee Lamb talked about his experience, and I've heard so many horror stories about, losing your sense of smell, I got to actually have a cousin right now that got COVID, and he barely made it. Tongue turned brown, and you know, had to be on a breathing machine. His organs were starting to fail him. They didn't know if he was going to make it. So it's real. You know, it's definitely real. So that was pretty much how the show ended, with CeeDee Lamb going over his COVID experience, and then the Cowboys kind of talking about, you know, of course they had, you knew this thing was going to end with Jerry Jones. Like, I mean, how else would it end? Jerry Jones giving us some garbage soliloquy at the end about how you got to earn championships and how he can't, you know, he wants to taste it again, this, that, and the third. Well, if you really wanted to taste it or never stop tasting it, you would never got rid of Jimmy Johnson, and you would have figured out a way to get out of the way and let the guys that know what the hell they're doing do their job, instead of wanting to be in the middle of every damn thing. But that's nor here nor there. At the end of the day, solid finish to the series, and it was a solid series overall. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a 5. It wasn't great. It wasn't garbage. It was solid. You know what I mean? Again, I told you, anytime I get an opportunity to watch guys in their element talking ball, I'm going to tune in. So that's essentially what this was. So that's going to do it for Hard Knocks, episode 5, and the series itself. We'll see who they decide to do next year. And keep in mind, if you don't make the playoffs and you don't have a new coaching staff, you are eligible to be selected for Hard Knocks. You can't say no. You don't have a choice. If you make the postseason or you have a brand new coach and coaching staff, you can then refuse Hard Knocks. You do not have to be on the program. So we'll see who ends up being in the crosshairs next year. With that said, no need for a word from one of our sponsors today. I didn't set it up, so we will go straight from there to social media maneuvers. I'm a midday marauder. So with that said, I do want to get to some of your comments. Again, if you're out there, you got some comments that you want read, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. If you don't want your comment to be read, just continue on minding your business as always. And if you want to jump to the front of the line, you know the best way to do so. Super chats are the way to do so. So with that said, let's get to your comments. And I do have a couple of new members of the Mob Squad. So that is pretty fun. Let's open this up so I can take a look at some of these comments. I got so many devices in front of me. Forgot to open up one of them. One that is very helpful for this type of thing. So let's take a look and see what we got. All right. So brand new member 202 Hall O. Thank you for your membership. Stand up 202 or 202 Hall 0. You are definitely in the building as a brand new member of the MOBB My Guide 202 Hall 0. Welcome to the Mob Squad. Mob family, you know what to do. Show this man some love and welcome him to the MOBB. Thank you for becoming a silver member of the Mob. Also got another new member of the Mob Squad, my guy Kevin the PRF. Kev, stand up. Welcome to the Mob. You're definitely in the building as a gold member of the MOBB. You know, Kev is our guy. Y'all know what to do. Show Kev some love. Welcome him to the gang. It's Mob Ties. And you're now a member of the MOBB. Welcome aboard, Kev. Thank you guys both for your membership. We in the building. Y'all stand up. Y'all know what it is. All right. So with that said, let me go ahead and open up this other device. And we will get this party started so I can see every every comment that you guys are sending. So here we go. All right. There we go. Perfect. Perfecto. All right, here we go. So, first comment up. What up, Dre the Great? Hidden Rain Pac-Man D3 says, with Curtis trending towards not playing Sunday, I'm excited to see if Diami will step up and become the number 2 we hope he can be. Going to be such a fun week 1 to watch. Yes, indeed. I would prefer all of our weapons be healthy. I said that we were going to get our first look at the injury report, and I was hoping that it would be squeaky clean, minus, of course, Curtis Samuel. And I was hoping his would say questionable, or maybe, just maybe, probable, But obviously today was the first day of practice of the week that was listed on the report, and he was DNP. And we all know why. We all have been following and monitoring the situation closely. And today was a big setback. Yes, Monday was a huge step in the right direction. Today was a massive step backwards. And honestly, I think this could be something that lingers for quite some time. I don't know if this goes away. I've already told you guys from a personal experience with a groin, shit doesn't go away. Only thing that's going to heal a groin is time. Like, there's no massaging, there's no stretching. None of that shit's going to get this groin injury to just go away. You got one of two options with a groin. You either need surgery or you need tons and tons of rest. Okay? But to keep running and cutting and stopping and starting on that groin is only going to re-aggravate it. So I have really no hopes for this guy playing this week or, really anytime in the near future, to be honest with you. It's not a great start to his Washington football team career, but that's what it is. It's a groin. And what do you want to do? We just saw Anthony Davis struggle with a groin. And the thing about a groin is when you get a groin injury, now you start favoring that groin, and now you have other injuries that flare up because of it, like your hip. So you mess around with a groin, and next thing you know, you got a hammy, you got a hip, because you're trying to overcompensate for it. So they got to be careful, man, not to overdo it. And Curtis Samuel said on Monday he wasn't going to overdo it. We saw that at practice today. It's not looking good for him playing week 1. And honestly, I don't think this is just a week 1 thing. So we'll see what happens. But I, like you, hope that this is the start of, Diami Brown showing something. I much rather, though, and I told you guys, I like to take it nice and slow. I just wanna take it nice and slow with these rookies, man. Like, I hate when we got to put these boys out here so early. And I'm not saying they can't do it. I just much rather take the rookie and let him learn at a leisurely pace. That's how I prefer to run the show with my rookies. But that doesn't look like the situation that'll be in front of us now. Again, keep in mind, Diami isn't Curtis Samuel's backup. Diami is Terry McLaurin's backup. So more likely than not, they'll probably roll with Cam Sims on the outside opposite of Terry, but we will see plenty of Diami. That is for certain. And it'll be interesting to see if he starts the game opposite of Terry. I don't think he will. I think that distinction will go to Cam Sims. And I think they'll, rotate Diami in. I don't think they'll rush him along, this process. And I want to see if DeAndre Carter can take some of those reps as well. We'll talk more about that on the Washington show, though. I got a lot to say about that kind of stuff. Jason says, what do you think is the biggest weakness on the Cowgirls' D? How will Brady attack it? We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show when we get into the preview and prediction for the Thursday night kickoff special. Let's see. Captain Spartan 04. Where were you at when we needed you yesterday? Where we were talking about TJ Watt and we were talking about college football. Where the hell were you at? Where your ass was at when we was taking attendance in the bathroom? Like it's the classroom. Anyway, he says final Steelers prediction is 12-5. Floor is 10-7. Ceiling is 15-2. We'll probably lose in the AFC Divisional round. Don't think we'll fall off like everyone else thinks. I didn't see this as a fall off year for you guys. And especially with the Ravens having injuries and things of that nature. Everybody's high on the Cleveland Browns. I need to see it again, to see it to believe it. I think that's a good football team over there. We'll see what happens. Got a super chat here from Cruisin26. Thank you for the super chat, Cruisin26. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Cruisin26 writes, look at my boy Louie T. He will be sad once again when Big Blue sweeps Washington again for the third season in a row. I'm going to sit here and I've never done this with the Giants because I told you of all the teams in the division, the Giants scare me the most because for some reason we lose our minds when we play the Giants. We can't take care of the football. We can't make the simple plays that we normally make against everyone else. We just forget how to play football when we play the Giants. I am going to guarantee, just like I did last year, when I said we were going to beat the Eagles because the Eagles were on like a 5 or 6 game win streak against us, and I said this has to stop. I guaranteed a win in week 1 last year. I'm guaranteeing a win in week 2 this year versus the Giants. There's no way we're going to lose that football game. And I can tell you this, I don't give a shit who's that quarterback for us. It could be Ryan Fitzpatrick. It could be Taylor Heineke. It could be Kyle Allen. And we're going to win that football game. Mark my words. So, thank you for the super chat, Cruisin26. Greatly appreciate you. Got some more memberships, actually. Got a new member, Tobal DeGrio. Thank you for your membership. Stand up, Tobal DeGrio. You're definitely in the building as a silver member of the Mob Squad. Thank you for your membership, Tobal. Greatly appreciate you. Welcome aboard, y'all. Know what to do for Tobal. Welcome him with open arms and let him know he's now the newest member of the MOBB. Thank you for your membership, Tobal DeGrio. Got another new member here, Thaddeus Gross. Thank you for your membership, Thaddeus. Greatly appreciate you. Stand up, Thaddeus. You know what this is. It's initiation, baby. You are now officially a member of the MOBB, Thad Gross. Come on in, man. And y'all know what to do. Show that man some love. My man Thaddeus Gross is a gold member of the MOBB. Look forward to chopping it up with you tomorrow night with the remaining gold members as we will talk ball. I want all your predictions then. Again, we're going to talk about that at a later date and time. Make sure you're checking your community wall posts to stay updated when we will do our live stream together with one another. But welcome aboard, Thaddeus. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to the MOBB. All right. Let's see. I think that was the last one. Welcome aboard, everyone. Mob Squad, you know what it is. Stand up. We in the building. All right. So I think I left off right here at this next comment. And let's see. We were right here. Juan Gotti talking sports. Let's see where we at. Here we are. And I'm not going to lie to you. I forgot all about, this is the reason we're doing Wednesdays, right? So you guys can see the comments. Like, what are we doing, man? I'm all over the place today. Don't kill me. My Gotti talking sports, right? I got multiple people commenting on my videos saying cut or trade Curtis Samuel. Our fan base is so reactionary, if that makes sense. They're very spontaneous. And they don't have any patience. And you know that as a vid maker, you get these comments all the time. So you shouldn't be fazed by it. Okay. It shouldn't move you one way or the other because you expect this kind of tomfoolery and nonsense from the fan base, especially the ones that are very flippant, that are quick to dismiss a guy's injury. Oh, he's hurt. We always I saw today that the new thing today is, oh, you can't trust number 10s. Robert Griffin III, Curtis Samuel was wearing 10, AGG was wearing number 10, and before him, Paul Richardson was wearing 10. It's a curse. No, get him out of the 10 jersey. Injuries happen, man. And then somebody was like, oh, I've seen a whole bunch of these. Oh, we should have never signed him, or we should have given him a physical before we signed him. I'm like, what do you think they did? You think this guy was in damaged goods when we got him? He got this groin injury in the offseason. He was perfectly fine when we got our hands on him. And this, unlike Paul Richardson, who had an injury past, when we got him, we knew what we were getting ourselves into and just hoped that he would stay healthy. This guy's been very healthy throughout his career. Hasn't missed a ton of games in his 4 years in the league. I think he's missed a grand total of 3 games in 4 seasons. That's not who he is. So, for the crowd out there that, oh, he's injury prone. No, he's not. No, he's not. Things happen. It's football. These things happen. So I know exactly where you're coming from. The best advice I can give you is to just act like those comments don't exist, because you're going to get them a ton. And those people aren't thinking straight. They're upset, they're disappointed, and they're lashing out. And it is what it is. If that's the way they want to go about their business, so be it. But I won't entertain it. That's for sure. Let's see. I think I got a super chat here. And I do. This super chat is from Valmont Smart. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, Valmont Smart. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, hey, Louie. What's up, Valmont? Say, what's up, man? Nothing. Just chilling. Kicking it with you guys, the mob, and the rest of the viewers out there. He says, over under on 850 yards receiving for Samuel, De'Ami Brown, and Logan Thomas. Well, Curtis Samuel is going to be under, because I really think he's going to miss probably, a good 4 or 5 games of the season. They might as well, if you ask me, just put him on IR and, clear up a roster spot and allow somebody else to take it, because I don't think he's going to help this team. I really don't. But I'm assuming the worst. I'm assuming that this setback was a major one and that he's in trouble. It could have just been, it felt tight. He didn't want to push it and he came out, but it's still in good shape. He didn't do any more damage to it. It just felt tight and he didn't want to damage it. So it could be nothing. It could be something. We'll see. I got Curtis Samuel. Never, ever trust a man with 2 first names. Under. I'll take the under on that. De'Ami Brown. I will take the under on him as well. Logan Thomas. I'll take the over on Logan Thomas. Not by much. I think he'll be in the 870 range, but I'll take the over on Logan Thomas for receiving yards this season. Thank you for the super chat, Valmont Smart. Got another super chat. This one is from Tobal DeGrio. Thank you for becoming a brand new member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you, and appreciate you for the super chat. Who writes, NFC East has more Super Bowls than all other divisions. NFC East has all Super Bowl champions. Why do they call us the NFC least? Fight to change the narrative, Lou. They call us the NFC least because of seasons like last year, where we struggled to even approach 500, 18 in the division with a 500 record. We've had probably over the last 5 seasons, we've had the most teams finish under 500. I can remember years where the whole division was terrible and it literally was survival of the fittest. It was the best of the worst, essentially. And that was what it was last year, obviously, with us winning the division at 7-9. I think the Eagles won it maybe 2 years ago, and I think they were 9-7. They barely won the division at 9-7, and it was terrible. They had beat Dallas in like week 17, and the Eagles were depleted, and they still found a way to beat Dallas and Philadelphia in week 17 to win that division. And it was a bad division that year. I remember us winning the division in 2015. The Cowboys were awful. That was the year before they got Dak and Zeke Elliott. They were awful that year with Matt Cassell and what was the name of the running back from Arkansas? Darren McFadden. They were just awful that year, and the division was terrible. That's how we won it. We went to Philadelphia on a Saturday night late in the season. Kirk had the brain fart right before half where he takes a knee instead of spiking the ball or throwing it into the end zone, and we don't even get a field goal before halftime. But we shredded the Eagles defense in the second half of that game, and one going away. And we clinched the division that night at like 8-7. Think about that. You clinched the division at 8-7. We would go on the next week to destroy Dallas's team with backups essentially playing. And we got to 9-7 that year. And that was the You Like That Kirk season. But we clinched the division at 8-7. It's got to be pretty bad to clinch the division at 8-7 with a week to spare. So that's why they call us the NFC East. We have to change the narrative. We want to get back to the glory years. We want to get back to winning. We got to start as a whole division. I don't worry about the other teams personally. I just worry about us. But I told you, I long for the days where the division is good again, where you can't win the division with a single digit in the left-hand column. I long for the days of us playing Dallas in a massive primetime matchup or playing the Giants in a massive primetime matchup with a lot of stakes on the line, and each team is playing at their best. I long for those days where you get to week 12 and it's 9-2 Washington against 8-3 Dallas. Like, I want that, but that's not what this division has been. So one of the problems with this division is that a lot of our organizations live in the past. When we go get a new free agent, or in the last case we went and got Ron Rivera, we're quick to roll out those 3 Super Bowls. When we watch this last Hard Knocks episode, Jerry Jones keeps talking about those 5 Lombardis, and I'm like, bro, you haven't even won a playoff game. Well, I shouldn't say that. They beat Seattle, or it was Detroit, I believe. I think they beat Detroit. Maybe like 4 years ago or so. But I mean, you haven't been to an NFC championship game in 26 years? What was it, 95 the last time they played in the Super Bowl? That's also the last time they played in the NFC championship game. So again, at the end of the day, we got to stop living in the past. We got to create new memories and find a way to get the job done, not just on a one-off, but to be consistent. That's the problem with this division is you never know when Dallas is going to rise up and go 13-3. They've done it multiple times in this little stretch here with Dak Prescott at quarterback, where they've had phenomenal seasons. His rookie year, they come out of nowhere. They go like 12-4. They had another year, I think like 3-4 years ago, where they were 12-4 or 14-2 or 13-3, something like that. But they never win in the playoffs. But they have those years where they just rise up and they're outstanding. But it's not consistent. Same with the Giants. Same, and we're never great. We've had 1 10-win season in 30 years. One. I take that back. We had 2. We had 99 and we had 2012. So 2 10-win plus seasons, or 2 10-win seasons, not plus. We haven't had a 10-plus win season in over 30 years. So you got to go all the way back to 91 for that. But we've won 10 games twice in that stretch, which is pathetic. So that's why people call this division the NFC East, because we're the least expected to do anything. None of these teams are Super Bowl contenders. Not a single one. I think we are the only division in this conference, in the NFC conference, that it doesn't have a team that could be seen as a potential Super Bowl contender. The North has Green Bay. The South obviously has the Buccaneers. And the West has about 3 teams. I don't know if anybody thinks Arizona is really going to do anything, but you still got San Francisco, you still got Arizona, you still got the Rams. And I don't know if anybody thinks San Francisco is going to do anything, but you could substitute them out for Arizona. And if you just want to take both of those teams out, you still got the Rams and you still got Seattle. So, I mean, we're the only division where I don't think anybody realistically thinks any team in the NFC East has a chance to win the Super Bowl. Not a single one. And so you get essentially what you get what you've worked for. And we've worked to make this division one of the worst in football. So now we got to work to make it one of the best again. And honestly speaking, you could argue we're the only division in football that doesn't have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Because if you go on the AFC side of things, in the East, you got Buffalo. In the West, obviously, you got Kansas City. In the South, you've got Indianapolis and Tennessee. And in the North, you've got Baltimore, you've got Pittsburgh, you've got Cleveland. So it's just us. Our division is the only one that doesn't have a chance, pretty much. That's the perception, at least. So you asked, that's what it looks like right now. So thank you for the super chat, Towball Degria. Got another super chat here from Thaddeus Gross. I'm assuming there's a comment that goes with that. I mean, you could have just decided, I just want to show some love, but more likely than not, that's probably a mistake. It's all good. I really do appreciate you, Thad. I really do, man. Thank you so much for becoming a brand new member of the MOBB and also showing some love with a super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Got another super chat here from my guy, Twin D. Thank you for being a member of the Mob Squad. Stand up. You know what it is. You in the building, Twin D. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, smash the like button. Y'all heard the man. 110 of you guys out there, only 57 likes at this current juncture. You know what it is. Let's get it up to 70 and then we'll go from there. But if you're out there, you can hear my voice, please do the kid a huge solid and hit the like button as my guy, Twin D, just urged you to do. Thank you for that super chat, Twin D. Greatly appreciate you. Thad Gross, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Thad Gross, writes, what up, Lou? What up, Thad? Says, longtime viewer of your great content, Mob Squad, stand up. After this year, Lou, we're going to have the league on notice. I think that's going to be the case, man. I know we're still waiting on that quarterback. We don't know where that guy is right now. I don't think he's on the roster. He could be in the league already. He could not be in the league already. We don't know who that guy is, but I've already said that we're building this thing in the image of the Seattle Seahawks. You know, the early 20-teens Seahawks that built the infrastructure of what was going to be a, triple P, a perennial playoff participant. They built all the components, got the defense where it needed to be, started to build some of the other pieces, went and got Marshawn Lynch, and then they just dropped Russell Wilson right in the mix. And they were off and running. His first season in 2012, they go to the divisional round and lose a heartbreaker to the Falcons in come from behind fashion. They literally had that game wrapped up, and Matt Ryan pulled some magic out of his hat to get them in the field goal range to break Seattle's heart. So, and then the next year they won the Super Bowl, and then they should have won it the year after that as well. So that's essentially what we're trying to build. That's what we're looking to build in Washington. And I don't think we're that far off, but this season is going to tell the story as to how close we really are, because you can't afford to take a step back. That's been my my position all along, is you can't afford to take a step back. Even if the step forward means you're not a playoff team this year, so you increase your win total by 2 and you're 9-8 this year, but you missed the postseason, so be it. But that's a step in the right direction. You're trending where you need to be trending, and we'll see what happens. Thank you for the super chat, Thad Gross. Got another new member here. Viscount. Thank you for your membership. Greatly appreciate you. Stand up, Viscount. You are now officially in the building as a brand new member of the Mob Squad. Thank you for your membership. Greatly appreciate you. And Mob, you know what to do. Show Viscount some love as a brand new bronze member of the MOBB. Thank you for your membership. Looking forward to chopping it up with you, especially on Sundays with the rest of the mob. Thank you for your membership discount. All right. So we go back up to the comment section, see where we left off. And I think we were right here. Pretty sure we were right here with my guy, Captain Spartan 04, who writes, not ready to fully embrace this last year of Ben, though. I'll miss him a lot. Who knows how long I'll have to wait for another franchise QB to come. Mike Tomlin won't tank for one, and I don't blame him. In this league, it's so fickle. You know, you tank for a quarterback, that quarterback comes in, and you stink again that next year, and all of a sudden you're fired. And all you wanted was a quarterback. So, I mean, remember all of the rumors of Mike Tomlin potentially being out in Pittsburgh, and you guys went 8-8? Like, you really think Mike Tomlin's in a position to tank? Not even Mike Tomlin is immune to the nonsense that goes on in this league. All right, so there is no tanking for a quarterback. He can't afford to do that. The mob wanted him gone at 8-8. So, I don't know if this is Ben's last year. Ben doesn't know if this is his last year. Ben doesn't know what the hell he wants to do. You know, I don't know if this is his last year or not. Got one here from my guy, Ree. Thank you for the comment. Ree writes, Lou, I've never been more excited for a regular season. It's lonely at the top. He says, we still have a lot to prove. We have to show that last year wasn't a fluke. People still are doubting us. Yeah, that's generally what happens when people didn't think you were supposed to win the Super Bowl in the first place. At the end of the day, that you want people doubting you. Use that for motivation. You would like to see your team perform without having to use, you know, any extra added fuel. But at the end of the day, you take any motivation that you can get and throw that in the gas tank and use it against people. And I think that's what these Buccaneers are going to have to do. It is lonely at the top, but the beauty of it is you're not at the top anymore. You're going to have to do it all over again. You're back at the bottom with everybody else. And I'm pretty sure that's what Uncle Bruce is telling the gang. Like, yeah, we're 0-0 like everybody else. Now we got to go out and do it again and prove to everybody that, like you just said, last year wasn't a fluke. So you should be excited. There's nothing quite like winning a chip and then having a whole offseason to embrace and bask in winning a chip. And then the build up to that first game is outstanding. Something that I really don't know anything about, which is sad. Again, I was 6 that following year, and we didn't know Joe Gibbs was going to retire in 1992 after the season. But the thing about us was we didn't think the party was going to stop. You know, we had just won our 3rd Super Bowl in 9 years. We didn't think the party was going to stop, but Joe had other ideas, and the party did stop. And we haven't been to a party really since 1991. So enjoy. I'm essentially telling you, Ree, enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy this season. I don't know how it's going to go, but and this is the thing. This is your 2nd chip in your lifetime. So this isn't the first time you've been through this. You probably enjoyed this one a little bit more because you're older. The first one came when you were a lot younger. That's probably what made you fall in love with not only the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the game of football. Was that first championship with Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks and John Lynch and all of those guys and Mike Allstott. But this one was a lot sweeter because it took you longer and you're older and you understood and you went through the growing pains, you know, of Josh Freeman and Jameis Winston and all of these quarterbacks that you've had to endure over the years to get to where you are. Bruce Gradkowski, and you've gone through some stinkers in Tampa and some near misses and some seasons where you thought you were going to be better and you turned out to be average. And so that made it that much more sweeter when you were able to conquer and get to Mount Everest. And so enjoy it. Enjoy all of it. Should be a fun season. That is for sure. I've got a super chat here, and it is from my girl, Tantrell B, the Diva. Hey, girl, what's up? How you doing? I'm gonna go ahead and put this one up here. She puts, "No one's ready to deal with us." Oh man, that is one of my best friends in the whole entire universe right there. And oh man, that's some good times. That brings some good memories up right there. That's one of those inside jokes. Nobody else knows what we're talking about but us. And it'll always be that way. What's up, girl? If you're still watching, love you to death. Let's see. Bob Esther writes, "I'm convinced that number 10 is the unlucky number." Remember I brought this up earlier? I said that this was the thing today. Saw it on Twitter, and now it's starting to kind of make its rounds everywhere else on socials. Here we are. Number 10 is the unlucky number. Robert Griffin III, Paul Richardson, Jay Schroeder, Jabari Gaffney, 2020, AGG. I get it. Everyone's looking for something to blame. It can't just be that this man has a groin injury. It's got to be the jersey number, because we're human beings, and human beings need to be able to place the blame on something. Whatever you got to do to feel better about it, Bob, I'm with you, bro. If it's the number, okay, it's the number. It's a curse. Stop anybody from wearing 10. I don't think it's the number. The man got a groin injury. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. But 10 has not been kind. I will say that. But I don't think it's the jersey number. And I'm a semi-superstitious guy. I'm not as superstitious as I once was. I was the guy that didn't want to walk on opposite sides of the pole. I didn't want to step on cracks, things of that nature. I don't really subscribe to that stuff anymore. I do still pick up coins on heads, though. I will not pick up a coin on tails. I'm still that guy. But I don't think there's anything to that. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I digress. Twin D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling it up, Twin D. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Twin D. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Stand up. You know what it is. LT, he says, given our roster and this year's schedule, if we were to somehow finish at 11-6, regardless of how the other NFC teams finish, how dangerous a team would the NFC playoffs teams consider us? It just depends on how the season goes, because you could do like the Steelers did last year. Start out 11-0 and then back your way into the postseason. Who was afraid of the Steelers last year come postseason time? Nobody. That was shown by the disrespect that the Browns went into their house and showed them in Wild Card Weekend. Okay, so again, it's all in how you achieve that 11-6. If you start out the season, 5-6, and then you run off your final 6 games to get to 11-6, then teams will start looking at you like, uh-oh, we got to watch out for this Washington team. They're playing some hot football. Now, granted, our final 5 games of the season are against NFC East teams, and those teams might be trash. And if they're trash and you run the table on them, you may not garner as much respect as, say, you had to go through Tampa and Green Bay and a couple of other teams that teams respect around the league. But that's nor here nor there. You're riding a 5-6 game win streak going into the playoffs, or you've won 6 of 7 heading into the postseason, and you're hot. Yeah, then that comes with a level of respect that playing that kind of football garners you. However, if you backed your way in, if you started out the season 7-1, or you started out the season 9-2, and you finish up at 11-6, it means you lost 4 out of your final 6 games of the season. Nobody's really that afraid of you going into the postseason. So it all really depends on how that 11-6 is achieved, and then what we look like. Is the defense dominant? Is the offense really good? What is the makeup of the football team? There are so many different variables there as to why teams would either fear you, respect you, or just be indifferent about you altogether. So hard to answer that question as we sit here in September, but you'd have a greater understanding of how the rest of the league views you as you get towards the end of the season and you look at the totality of what you've done in the year. So thank you for that super chat, and thank you for doubling up, Twin D. Got a super chat here from Dexter Williams. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Dexter, stand up. You know what it is. My guy Dexter writes, hey, Lou, thanks for the great content. No, thank you for being a loyal subscriber and viewer. He says, hashtag mob. You know what it is. Stand up. We in the building. All right. So let's get back to the comment section. I think we left off, if I'm not mistaken, Ree was the last one, and I think we got another one from my guy Ree here. Right here, I think it is. He says, even in 03 coming off the Super Bowl, it didn't feel like this. I feel like we can be better. This is the best roster anyone has had in 15 years. I don't know if it's the best roster if anyone's had in 15 years, but it's a damn good roster. And we've talked about it. It's a young roster. It's a good mesh of veterans and young players alike. It's a really deep team as well. You can afford an injury or two at multiple positions and still be fine. It's a really good roster. It's well balanced. You got to give Jason Light some credit, man. And it's to think that this really came about with the free agent acquisition of Tom Brady last year. This is the same roster. I keep telling people this. That's why there's hope for a team like Washington. Like, a lot of fans don't want a veteran quarterback. And I'm like, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their roster is good. And it was good before Tom Brady was there. They just dropped Tom Brady in the middle. That's it. Same defense, essentially. Now, obviously, you had young players. They were able to get seasoning without Brady being there. So they got to struggle with Jameis Winston, get some of that out of the way. So they were ready when Tom Brady got there. All of those secondary members that are on rookie contracts, those guys struggled the year prior. But they got a lot of those struggles out. It's baptism by, fire for the young boys when you throw them out there, especially in the secondary. So it's a really good roster. I agree with you. I don't know if it's the best, but it's a really, really good roster. That is for sure. He says, 4 games worry me. Bills, Dolphins, Colts, Rams. Other than that, I think we should win every game. We'll see. Seasons don't ever usually go the way that you think they're going to go. We're going to find out if you're amongst the elite. Are you the Chiefs? Are you the Packers in terms of this is what we do? We don't lose to teams we're not supposed to lose to, because last year I thought you were close to losing to some teams that you weren't supposed to lose to. Now you have that championship swag. You know who you are. You know how good you can be. You should be able to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, but you never know. We'll see. That's why they play the game. So we'll see what happens. Captain Spartan 04 says, Louie T, I'm assuming you read my Louisville comment, and I'm just wondering how you would fix Louisville. We can't even produce quality talent, as Des Fitzpatrick was the highest draft pick cut. Yeah, I told you that, and I did read your comment, and I found it very interesting, and I found a lot of that comment to be really true. And it's the frustrating part for me, which is why I lashed out last night on the podcast when it comes to college football, because you see the same thing over and over again. I talk about this all the time, that colleges recruit the same type of athletes. They have an identity. They know what their program is, and they try to keep that going. But to me, why do you want to continue to do something that hasn't worked? Now, in the case of certain schools, there's a limit, a cap on how well you can recruit. There just is. And certain schools also have academic restrictions, like a Notre Dame or Stanford. They're not waiving their academic standards just to allow guys to get in. Like Lou Holtz used to be able to get some of those dudes in on the side door, like, hey, shh, don't tell nobody. Come in through this side door. We're going to work everything out. They stopped doing that after Lou Holtz in Notre Dame. And so now you had to be up to the standard that they have set for their academia. And a lot of these programs, you're not going to get the guys that are getting into Bama and the guys that are getting into Clemson. They're not lowering their standards to let them in. But at the end of the day, I just struggle with some of these programs that just keep recruiting the same athletes over and over again. If it's not working, why are you trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole? You know, it's one thing if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, Bama and Clemson and Ohio State, they have a formula. Oklahoma, even though for the life of me, I can't understand why they can't fix their defense. They have a formula. They get athletes. They get talent. That's why they win as much as they do. I think Oklahoma, if they really are serious about making that switch and jump to the SEC, their program is going to suffer because they're not good enough to play in the SEC, especially with that garbage ass defense. But that's, again, another discussion for another day. It makes sense though. Oklahoma is in the South, so they should be in the SEC. They're in the South, right? Yeah, they're in the South. Are they in the South? Boy, oh man, don't get me started on my world geography. It's been a while since I've taken a look at the map. Anyway, at the end of the day, what would I do to fix Louisville? I think it starts with a coach that is innovative and has to be a hell of a recruiter. I know Satterfield is your coach. He believes in his own run. I think his scheme is a really good one that can work. I just don't think you have the talent. There aren't many guys, and Tutu Atwell was one of them last year. There aren't many guys that you go and you have to game plan to stop when you play Louisville. That's the problem. Is that I look at that team and I'm not afraid of the receivers, the running backs. You know, your biggest threat is your quarterback, and that's when he runs. His biggest asset is his legs, not his arm. And you know, Cunningham to me is a less accurate, less dangerous version. And again, I've talked about this. I said this yesterday. He's not a great value version of Lamar Jackson because that would be disrespectful to Lamar Jackson. He's a lot worse because he can't throw at all. And he's not anywhere near as fast as Lamar Jackson. So he's not dynamic in that regard either. So if you're going to run that style of offense, then you need to get a more dynamic quarterback. Point blank, end of discussion. You've got to get a more dynamic athlete as a quarterback at that position. If you're going to run that kind of offense where it's predicated on the legs of your quarterback. But it hasn't been terrible at Louisville. You know, you've had some years where you've overachieved, you know, the Teddy Bridgewater year, the Lamar Jackson years. You've had some good runs, but you're Louisville. Like, you're not a blue blood program in college football. So you get the leftovers, you get the table scraps. So every now and again, you've got to go find the guys that fit your program, but you need the quarterback. That's what's going to do it for you. You know, you need an athlete. You need a supremely gifted athlete. And the angle I would take would be, you go to Alabama, you're not going to start there. You know, we play those teams. We play the SEC teams. We're not afraid. You're going to be on TV. You could be the next Heisman Trophy winner like Lamar Jackson was here at Louisville. We produce those. We got Teddy Bridgewater into the league. But you can play right away if you come to Louisville. You're not going to play right away if you go to Clemson or if you go to Alabama or you go to Ohio State. You're not playing for 2-3 years. You got to wait your turn. That would be the angle. But it's hard because you got to be a master recruiter. You got to sell these kids on why your program is the right choice over a program that they know, even if they don't start, they still got a chance and a path to the league. You just said it yourself. Des Fitzpatrick just got cut as a 4th-round draft pick by the Tennessee Titans. It's not enough talent. It's just not enough talent at Louisville, period. When's the last time you had a decent defender drafted from Louisville? Did Jair Alexander go there? I believe he did. He was right in that same class, I want to say, with Lamar Jackson. That's your last defender that was of any substance out of Louisville. Didn't you guys have the guy that the Eagles drafted in the first round that ended up being trash and ended up out of the league in like 2 years? Like that, those are the kind of guys I expect to see from Louisville. That's got to end. You got to find some dominant defenders too. Go get you a pass rusher or something. Anyway, I digress. All right, let's see. Brian say, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, one of my most valuable members. You the real MVP, Brian. Thank you for everything here and on my other channel, man. You really do hold me down. I really do appreciate you, Brian. I can't thank you enough, bro. Who writes, do I start Pittsburgh or Saxonville's defense? This is not the week to mess with Pittsburgh's defense. They play in Buffalo. So Saxonville is playing the Houston Texans. Somebody's got to win the game, right? I'd go there. I don't know how good Jacksonville's defense is really going to be, but I wouldn't mess with Pittsburgh this week. I don't know how good the Steelers' defense is going to be. It's a hell of a way to find out playing Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills week 1 in Buffalo. That's a tough ask. So I would leave that one alone. Let's see. Let's see if we got any more comments. Ree says, I don't know why you didn't want Curtis Samuel. Dude can be electric. I wanted a true number 2 wide receiver. You know, I wanted a Corey Davis type. That's why. It was no slight or knock to Curtis Samuel. It's just what I wanted. I was being specific. I was being picky. But you know, it is what it is. Juan Gotti Talking Sports says, word on the street is Sunday's game versus the Chargers is sold out. And yes, some of the Chargers fans, but we back. People believe again. Ron's plan. Ron's plan. All right. So I don't know if sold out is legit. I got to see it to believe it. They could say sold out. How many years were we, quote unquote, having sellouts at FedEx Field, and there was a waiting list for season tickets that was imaginary? You know, it wasn't until Brian LaFemina came here and pretty much spilled the beans, and Bruce Allen then quickly fired him. Him and Daniel Snyder couldn't stand the fact that Brian LaFemina was transparent with us as fans. Like, bro, we ain't had a season ticket waiting list for years. We don't sell out. Hell, we got Chris Cooley down at the local mall giving out free tickets. It's bad over here. We need y'all to come out to these games. Until I see that that's not the case, until it's not 60-40 them, us and them at our stadium, or it's not 70-30 with their fans still infiltrating at a high clip. I need it to be 75-25, 80-20, because the other teams are going to get their fans into the stadium, especially when we're playing the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Giants. The Chargers are a West Coast team. They have no business having more than 10 to 15% of the fans in the stands in this game. If it's anything more than that, then we still have a ways to go. Reese says, our guy Peyton Barber got claimed by Vegas. Yeah, he did. I'm not excited about that. You know that. I wanted him still in Washington. Let's see. Kevin, the PRF, my guy, Kev, thank you for becoming a brand new member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you, Kev, as always. Says the NFC East has existed because of poor GMs across the board. Unfortunately, Jerry Jones is still Jerry Jones, and we have rope-a-dope the Giants into making them think they have a GM. We sure have. I love it. And I'm hearing that he's still, you know, on the hot seat, and I'm like, what do we got to do to keep this guy around to where he's not on the hot seat? You know, I thought he did a masterful job last year, and I thought the draft that he had this year was actually pretty good. We'll see if it turns out to be a win for him or not. But I just need Dave Gettleman to hang around, man. We've said whatever we got to do to protect Dave Gettleman at all costs, that's what we're willing to do. And I've said that for years. The shit stops this year, though. I can't do my part anymore. As a Washington fan, we've done our part for the last 3 years running. Sweeps across the board. Shit's over this year. I'm not doing my part. Somebody's got to pick up our slack because we can't afford to give the Giants any more dubs. Can't afford to do it anymore. So Eagles, Cowboys, somebody's gonna have to pick up the slack. I can't do it no more. We got to have it this year. Got to. Let's see. I think we got one more comment. Derek B, my guy Derek B, writes, FYI, the podcast is only at $195 on TuneIn and Stitcher, making it obsolete by the time it's available. I'm aware. I've been really slipping and tripping. I'm going to upload those. I get it. I got to get back on my Grizzy. Yes, I deserve to be chastised. I've been cussing myself out. I just been lazy. I'm not going to lie to you. Got a lot of stuff going on. No excuses. It should have been done already. I'm going to catch up. And after this podcast is uploaded, or after I'm done with this podcast, I still got other live stream to set up. But when I got some free time, I'm going to upload all of these podcasts. And you're right. I got to get my life together. And I was doing really well, and I'm falling back into old habits again. I got to make sure that once these podcasts are done, and it doesn't take that long. And that's the problem, is because I know that it doesn't take long. I always put it on the back. Oh, I can do that later. I can do that later on tonight. And I always find something else more important to do. And the next thing you know, I'll do it tomorrow. And then I find a slew of other things to do the next day. And then, I'll do it later on tonight. And then it gets to nighttime. I get tired, or I want to go to the gym, or something else comes up. And next thing you know, all right, I'll do it tomorrow. And then next thing you know, I've got 3 or 4 podcasts just piled up on me. So I deserve that. Sorry. Only thing I can say is sorry. I'll be better. I don't know how. Oh, okay. We got down here. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Vincent Coe, writes, is Sidney Jones a good fit for my Hawks? He fits the mold. He fits the DNA profile, as I like to say, of the Seattle Seahawks at the cornerback position. He's tall, he's long, he's rangy, he's got some speed and athleticism. Yeah, he'll come in and he'll compete, but he hasn't been what everyone thought he was going to be out of UW. But now that he's back home, maybe he might just find what the game's been missing for him. We'll see. But he's got everything that the Seahawks look for in a cornerback. So, yes, he does fit what you guys do. Got another super chat from my guy, Vincent Coe. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Vincent Coe. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Vincent Coe, writes, got Gibb, Terry, and Washington defense on my fantasy team. I'm all ready for the smoke this year. Those are 3 really good components to have if you're snatching up anything off of our roster. You got all the right guys. We'll see. In the defense, we'll see if it look. I'm gonna just tell you right now, we place a brutal schedule, offensively. So you got to make sure you're smart about it. I don't know how good the defense really is, so you got to pick your spots as to when you play them. Can't just say, "Oh, got Washington defense. I'm gonna play them every week. They're available." No, we play Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. Yeah, we play Aaron Rodgers on the road at Green Bay. Yeah, we play Josh Allen and the Bills in Buffalo. We play Patrick Mahomes. That's at home, but it's still Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, you got to pick your spots carefully. Don't just throw us out there every single week. But, we'll see what this defense is made of. We'll know by the time we get to Josh Allen week 3, by the time we get to Mahomes week 6, we'll know how good this defense is and if they're legit or not. It might take them a little while. Who knows? We'll see. Comment here from my guy, Rich, says, can we get a double for you being wrong about AGG and Peyton Barber making the 53-man roster? I don't know if a double O is in order for that. I already gave up a double O for AGG. I'm not giving up one for Peyton Barber because I said that if they needed a roster spot, they would come after Peyton Barber's first, and they needed a roster spot. But I've already given up a double O for AGG. I've already given that up reluctantly, but I did. So I'm not giving up another one for Peyton Barber, because even though that was my guy, I knew that they were going to take Jaret Patterson over him. I just thought they were going to take Jaret Patterson and Peyton Barber, not or Peyton Barber. They chose to just go with 3 backs like they did last year. Randy Jordan had already told me multiple times during the offseason, we running with 3. And I was like, we might do 4 this year, Randy. He's like, nah, you're not listening. I said we got 3 backs. So I should have known better. But at the end of the day, I wanted what I wanted. Just like Reed earlier said, I don't know why you didn't like Curtis Samuel. Dude's a baller. He's a playmaker. I'm like, it's nothing against Curtis Samuel. I just want what I want. And I wanted Peyton Barber because of what he brings to the table. There aren't many guarantees in the NFL. As a matter of fact, the last thing that was the closest to a guarantee was the extra point when it was at the 2-yard line. They took that away. So there are no real guarantees in the NFL at this point. Peyton Barber provided one of the few rare guarantees during the course of a season. If it was short yardage situation, whether it's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th down, Peyton Barber was going to pick it up. He's no longer there to do that. Anyway, I digress. So let's wrap up this show with garbage time. And again, if you guys want in on the Louie T exclusives, y'all see the chip back there, man. Y'all know what it is. Two-time winners and losers champ. They go to strap right back there to prove it. And a lot of people been talking cold hard cash this offseason, man. I love it, man. I love all the smoke. Here's the thing, though. When shit gets hot and I turn up the heat, all I hear is feet. People scattering and running the opposite way. So do you really want the smoke or not? Put your money where your mouth is. I don't want to hear the talking. Because I already know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm about. The belt proves it right there. Okay? I got the championship strap. Because I'm that guy. So I just need to let y'all know one final time what this is. I run this show. I know the NFL better than all of y'all. And in case you forgot, there's the proof. And when the season's done, guess who'll be wearing the strap again? Y'all know what it is. Every year I do all the popping, and all of y'all out there do the dropping. Just in case you forgot. The champ is here. The champ is here. Side note, and I ain't going nowhere. So, let's get to garbage time. Let's talk about this kickoff weekend special Thursday night game that we get every single year. Super Bowl defending champion drops the banner and defends the home turf. We've been doing this now since 2004, where the Super Bowl defending champion hosts the Thursday night kickoff special. Now, we've had some exceptions to that rule. I remember one year the Ravens, I think when they won it in 2012, the Baltimore Orioles was like, nah, we're not moving our game for y'all. So kick rocks. I think when the NFL did its 100th year anniversary, when was that? 19 or was that 18? They put on Packers and Bears instead of the Super Bowl champion from that year, which was the Eagles. So I think it was the 18 season, because the Eagles won in 17. They put Packers Bears on because of that being the oldest rivalry in the league. So those were the only times since 2004 where we haven't had the Super Bowl defending champion play at home. That said, the Super Bowl defending champion is 14-2 since 2004 in this Thursday night game. So it's not very often that the opposition comes into that team's stadium where the crowd is juiced, amped, they drop the banner, it's electric, a lot of emotion, and they find a way to come in there and silence that team and their crowd. It's tough to do. That's why only 2 teams have done it. But one of those 2 teams that did find a way to get it done, Dallas Cowboys back in 2012, they beat the Giants on a Thursday night. If I recall, memory serves me correct, rookie running back David Wilson fumbled twice, not once, but twice in that game, and helped the Cowboys win like 24 or 27 to 20 or 17. I think it was 7 points. I know that. It's either 24 to 17 or 27 to 20. And the other one, if you guys all remember this one, this was a shock. The Chiefs, led by Alex Smith, go into Foxborough back in 2017 and smoke the Patriots. I mean, first of all, the Chiefs weren't even built like that at that time to put up a 40-burger. Alex Smith was tossing dimes all around the field. Remember, we got introduced to a rookie, Kareem Hunt, that year. He was phenomenal in that game. They had no answer for Travis Kelce. I think Eric Berry came back that year. I don't know if he had the cancer scare already or not, but he had a big 4th down stop in that game. The Chiefs, I think it was 41-24 or 27, one or the other. They beat them up good. 40-burger on their head. Nobody saw that one coming. So those are the 2 losses. Can the Cowboys do it for a second time and make it, only the 3rd time a road team has come in and won against the defending Super Bowl champion? They feel like they can. And if they're going to do it, it's going to start on the offensive side of football. Just like last year before Dak got injured, they had to outscore teams because the defense was so bad last season, historically bad. But they were capable of scoring with anyone. And I think they feel like this offense is even more dynamic now, with a healthy Dak, a CeeDee Lamb in year 2. Michael Gallup has established himself as a real threat at receiver. And obviously, Amari Cooper being healthy, they feel like they've got the best triplet and set of receivers in the league. You sprinkle in any kind of production at the tight end position, and they like their tight ends. They're getting Blake Jarwin back. And the kid from Stanford last year actually played really well in Blake Jarwin's absence. So they feel like they got stuff at tight end. You get Ezekiel Elliott healthy again. And I told you, Tony Pollard is a beast. I think he's one of the better backup running backs in all of football. So they love their offense. If the offensive line is healthy, they think they've got a shot to take it to the Buccaneers defensively. I'm not blown away by the Buccaneers defense. So I do think you can move the football on them. I just absolutely love Todd Bowles and what he's able to scheme up. They've got talent on that side of the football. That there's no doubting that. But I do think you can move it on that secondary. I'm not blown away by their secondary. So I do think that Dallas will have an opportunity to make some plays, but they're not going to have a plethora of opportunities. It's not like they're going to be busted coverages. Like last year, remember the Bucs were on a Monday night against the Giants, and the Giants got a wide open receiver running down the sidelines, and Daniel Jones just doesn't see him. Easy touchdown. Like, I don't think you're going to see busted coverages from this Buccaneers secondary. But you'll have opportunities to make some plays. You can move the ball on this defense. You got to find a way to score touchdowns, though, because we know the Buccaneers on their end, they're not settling for a ton of field goals. They're going to put it in the end zone. They deposit the football into the end zone, and they get 6s on drives. They don't finish with 3s. So I think that's where you start if you're Dallas, if you want a chance to win this football game. Is you've got to not only move the football and possess it. That also is going to help your defense stay off the field, but you got to cap off these drives with touchdowns. If you're kicking field goals, you're asking for trouble in this ball game. defensively for Dallas, that's where everyone thinks that they've got no chance. And, I thought their biggest offseason acquisition was their defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. Like, they didn't really do a whole hell of a lot defensively. Yeah, they brought over a couple of guys from Atlanta, with Dan Quinn. DeMonte KZ came over. Also, Keanu Neal comes over and it's going to give them a little pop defensively, some more physicality. But, for the most part, their secondary is still a big question mark. I love the addition of Malik Hooker. I wanted my team to kick the tires on Malik Hooker. The Dallas Cowboys, they were the team. And remember, he was out there for the longest time just hanging around. So we'll see if all of these additions make any difference. But the real difference is going to have to come up front. They're going to have to get pressure on Tom Brady. I don't give a shit how good your secondary is or this, that, and the third. They've got to get to Brady. If they can't make him uncomfortable, if he's able to sit back there, and one of the things their offensive line, there being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, did so well last year is they protected the hell out of Tom Brady. When they lost ball games like that Monday, what was it, Thursday night to Chicago, the Bears got after Tom Brady. When they struggled last year, when the Saints beat them to a pulp on a Sunday night, they got after Tom Brady and they banged him up. Tom Brady nobody wants to be hit. Let's clarify that, okay? But a 43-year-old man definitely doesn't want to be hit. So if Dallas wants to have any chance to win this football game and really get to the Buccaneers and make this thing a lot closer than people think it's going to be, they got to get to Tom Brady. And they don't have to sack him. They just need to harass him. They need to get him off of his spot. They need to make him uncomfortable, make him see ghosts. Brady, if you get to him early and often, he'll get fidgety back there. Okay? We've seen examples of that. But if he gets into a rhythm, he gets comfortable, he's going to tear your ass anew. He's going to tear you up, put it that way. He's going to tear you a new asshole. He's going to dissect you. He's going to get surgical. So it's going to be fun to watch that offense of the Buccaneers against this Cowboys defense that's supposed to be better. It can't be any worse, but how much better, how much improved is it really? We'll get a glimpse of it on Thursday night. On the Buccaneers side of things, I think for them, I think they feel like they're going to be able to move the football against this Cowboys defense. They're going to be able to score points. I think for them, they want to be able to slow down this Cowboys offense. And to me, the same thing applies. Is you got to get to Dak Prescott. You got to make him uncomfortable. And not having Zach Martin is a huge blow to the Cowboys up front because we know the Buccaneers can get pretty damn aggressive when they see a weakness. We saw that in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. They knew that they didn't have the offensive line to protect Mahomes, and they just never stopped coming after him. I think they blitzed the highest percentage of blitzes in NFL history in a Super Bowl were the Buccaneers last year against Patrick Mahomes, and they had no answer. And so if, Zach Martin's injury could end up being a lot bigger than people are making it out to be. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers are going to have their star wide receiver, and they got more than one. Okay. So, Godwin is going to play in this game after, there were questions as to whether he would be healthy or not. He's going to play in this football game. The only guy out for the Buccaneers is their safety, Jordan Whitehead. So they're healthy. The Cowboys are healthy. We'll see how this thing goes at the end of the day. I just look at this Buccaneers offense being too much for this Cowboys defense to be able to corral. The adrenaline and the excitement and the raucous crowd, all of that. You didn't have to deal with any of that stuff last year. It's going to be a different environment, one that the Cowboys really haven't been in since 2019, essentially. And I just think it's going to be way too much for them to handle. They've got a relatively young team, do the Dallas Cowboys, and I think it's going to show. I think the Buccaneers are going to jump them early, and they're just going to be too much for Dallas. They may take their foot off the gas pedal and allow Dallas to, make it interesting. But I think the Buccaneers win this football game 34-24 over the Dallas Cowboys and get their record to 1-0 in the season and improve Super Bowl winners to 15-2 all time in this Kickoff Thursday special. So I want to see Dallas's defense. And I want to see just how good the Buccaneers are on defense as well, because it's strength on strength, essentially. You've got the Cowboys offense against the Buccaneers defense, which proved to be probably their strongest part of their team at the end of the season. Now, during the regular season, I think their offense was the strongest part of the team. But by the time we got to the postseason, they won that Super Bowl on the strength of their defense, not their offense. So it's the Cowboys' strength, their offense, against the Buccaneers' strength, their defense. We know the Buccaneers offensively are good enough to execute and score against Dallas's defense. But is this going to be a shootout, or are the Bucs going to be able to control the tempo and pace of this football game? That's where their defense comes into play. If they can't get stops against Dallas's offense, and then they are able to move the football, then it turns into a shootout. Wild Wild West style. Who's got the fastest six-shooter? But if they're able to get stops against Dallas's offense, and the defense for the Cowboys isn't much improved at all, then this thing could get out of control, and we could see the Buccaneers run and hide very early in this football game. So, again, I'm looking forward to it, man. This is, to me, one of the best Thursday night games they've given us in quite some time. Normally, these Thursday night games are ass. Like last year, it was Chiefs and Texans. Like, who wanted that? And it was boring, too. It was raining. The Chiefs ran it 800 times. The Texans swore they weren't going to let the Chiefs go over the top, so they kept, a light box, and they just ran it with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's a rookie, over and 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 over again. It was a boring game, but it was football. We weren't going to turn it down. So, these games haven't been all that great. The Packers and Bears game from I want to say it was 2018. I think that game was like 10-3. Like, these games have been terrible. So this one, it might be terrible, but at least on paper, it looks like it's going to be a fun one. So looking forward to it, but we will see what happens. I've got the Buccaneers winning 34-24. Got a couple of super chats here on the way out. Twin D, thank you for the super chat and tripling up. Greatly appreciate you, and appreciate you being a member of the MOBB, who writes, is there anyone from another team's practice squad you'd like to kick the tires on? I don't know any other team's practice squad well enough to know if there was a player that I'd like to, potentially see more from. But I trust that Ron and company have done their due diligence, and they're happy with what they have. And they're going to work with the guys that are on our practice squad. They want to continue to work with the guys that were here throughout the offseason. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't think the only position that I was really worried about, and I still am to a lesser degree, is linebacker. And if they think they're good at linebacker, then I'm cool with it. Again, I don't worry until I have a reason to worry. I haven't seen anything yet, so I don't have a reason to worry. But if we get into the season and we see a lot of what we saw last year, then I have cause for concern. And then that's when I start saying, hey, we got to do something at linebacker. But if we're not injured, I think we'll be fine at linebacker. So that will be one of the few positions right now. Eric DeBose, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Eric DeBose, writes, what up, Lou? What up, Eric? He says, do you think we should put Samuel on IR for a bit to give AGG some run until he's healthy? I would put him on IR if it were significant enough. And I said that at the top of the show. I don't know the significance of the injury. Like I said, it could be that he didn't re-aggravate it. It just felt tight. And instead of pushing it and re-aggravating it, he just shut it down instead. It could be a minor setback, but not one that requires him to go on IR. Now, if he tweaked something, if he re-aggravated it, I would put him on IR, but I wouldn't bring AGG up in his place. I would just roll with the 6 other receivers that are on the roster, and I would bring up somebody else at a different spot that is down on the practice squad. Like I'd bring up, a safety, for instance. We only got 4 safeties dressing. That could be dangerous and problematic. I know they feel like, well, Troy Apke in a pinch can play safety if we need him. You don't want to go down that road, though. I'd bring up a Jeremy Reeves instead of another receiver for the game on Sunday. So we'll see what happens in any event. Washington football fan WGIL, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat as well. Writes, and Armada is an invasion of warships, FYI. Yeah. I had multiple people tell me after I said I didn't even know what it was. I said, I bet you it has something to do with the military, though. And I was right. But I did not know what it was. And I had a bunch of people tell me it had something to do with a number of ships, and so it is an invasion of warships. Thank you for that. I also heard a lot of people saying they like that name. So I don't know. There's so many layers. I mean, Washington football Twitter lit up today with the whole, name situation. And I don't give a shit. I don't care. But we'll talk more about it later on tonight when we go live for Washington football nightly live tonight, among other topics, as you could imagine. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T, here on the 199th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. Derek B, I promise you, I'm going to get these podcasts up ASAP. So by the end of the night, all of these podcasts should be up on their various programs, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening, I'm going to get it to you. And I'm going to be better. And I can't forget that not everybody watches this thing on YouTube. There are still loyal people who were rocking with the podcast before it was on YouTube that are still listening on various different streaming platforms. So I got to make sure I'm taking care of all of those different bases, not just the one here on YouTube. You're absolutely right. I apologize. Mistakes were made. So in any event, that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T, here on the Louie T Network podcast. Get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man, Louie T. I just want y'all to know it's not too late to get your ass whooped. It's still time. You still got over 24 hours to sign up for all the LTN exclusives, whether it's winners and losers. You see the strap back behind me. And again, if you win, you don't just get the money, you also get the strap as well. So the belt is on the line. Every time I step out there, I put the belt on the line, but I know it's coming home where it belongs, around my waist. So you guys enjoy the rest of your night. We'll be back on Friday to break all of it down. Sign up for those different leagues, pools, and things of that nature. The link is down in the description of this video. So if you need any help, you know how to get to me on all the various social media platforms. But until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. If you're a Washington fan, I'll see you later on tonight. Guys, have a good one. Take care.